Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and good evening. We are going to discuss about the education, which is the foundation for any progress and development of a country and a society. It doesn't only have an impact on the economy, but the social fabric and structure of the society and the country as well. I have a very prominent guest today. He was a former bureaucrat. He remained as Secretary Commerce, Secretary Interior. Nowadays, he is associated with the education project, and we are going to ask him that how he is contributing in this sector of education. Thank you very much, Mr. Tasneem Noorani Saab, for joining me here in this evening.
My pleasure.
Kindly tell me what is going on, what you're doing these days, especially regarding the education.
Look, I was Secretary Education, Government of Punjab, about 25 years back, and I served there. And at that time, the Punjab government had 55,000 schools, and there was only one Secretary Education. There was no Secretary Higher Education or Technical Education. And not only based on that, but I've always felt, and I think there's nobody who's educated would say, that education for a nation is like the foundation of a building. That unless you have a foundation of a building, however beautiful the building that you make with a weak foundation or with no foundation, will never be able to go up and never be able to sustain, never be able to sort of be strong. So therefore, that's how education, how important education is. And it's such a pity that in Pakistan we allocate only 0.8% of our GDP to education, where the recommended internationally is about 4% minimum. And our neighbor India is a much bigger country, and they need far more resources than us, and they allocate 4% for the GDP. In terms of rupees, it calculates that if Pakistan were to allocate 4 billion, 4% of the GDP, they would be spending about 4,000 or 5,000 billion rupees on their budget education. But currently, we are only spending 900 billion, and unfortunately, even that is not well spent. So I also I said that we must have a project in which we can pick up children from the rural areas, smart, intelligent children from rural areas who are swamped in poverty, bring them to a boarding school and groom them for 5 years, 6 years, and give them an environment which is really civilized environment, healthy environment. Because I myself went to a boarding school and I know the impact of a boarding school on the grooming of a child. And mashallah, our madrasas also, use the same strength of a boarding school. So, but boarding school is an expensive proposition. And so we had to devise, so I sat down with my friends and I said, let's devise a boarding school, which is as good as, let's say, Hassan Abdal, boarding, a cadet college, but which, the poor can afford to study and we can afford to fund. So we set up, we got land near Faisalabad, and we have set up a boarding school there. Our foundation, which is they call TNF, we've set up a boarding school near Faisalabad, over 8 acres of land, and it's for 320 boys from class 8 to class 12, and we send out teams once a year to small towns like Job, Kila Saifullah, Karak, Bannu, Peshawar. Then we have in Shikarpur, Kashmir, Dera Ghazi Khan, and we have applications. Children apply to us online, and we send out teams to cities where we have maximum applicants. We test them, and their exams are held in mathematics, English, and Urdu. And then they are marked, and the best of them are invited to attend our school. And most of these children are from the poorest of the poor. Their maybe family income would be about 30,000 40,000 rupees a month. Some bricklayer's son, some bike driver's son, some small farmer's son, but they are bright boys. So we then groom them, teach them for 5 years. And the idea is that we want to bring them up to the level of confidence, of spoken, of communication skills, of, to our own children. We the and people who are blessed, we have educated our children in good schools. So the idea is to give these children of deprived areas a chance and be brought up to the level of our children. And so, Alhamdulillah, we are doing that now for the last 4 years. We are only charging a fees of 1,000 rupees per month. And the child, when he comes in, he just comes in his clothes. The school gives them uniform. The school gives them food. The school gives them accommodation. The academic staff, the computers, Chromebooks. Uh, then we have 9 sports played in our school. Cricket,
That's
hockey, football, basketball,
you're
volleyball.
okay, Mr. Tasneem. You are doing an extremely marvelous job, especially a country like Pakistan, which needs such kind of institutions. What is the source of funding from where you are getting the funding for this entire
And
project? Because it's a very
the
expensive
funding
kind of
is
work. Yeah.
the funding is a crowdfunding funding from the people who can afford them. I started the school with gave my first 10 million I donated. Then I asked my friends to donate. And then we went to some corporates, and we now have a marketing department. And we try and reach out to people like through your program, people will get to know about us. And if they Google www.thenooranifoundation.org, they can find all the details about our schools and how to fund. So we raise about 6 million, 7 million rupees a month to run the school, and Alhamdulillah, people are generous, and people adopt children. Like one child costs us 300,000 rupees a year. And
Mhm.
we have a lot of people who adopt a child, adopt 2 children, 3 children. Some people, and this is zakat eligible. So people, during Ramzan send us their zakat. And this first school we built, me and my friends, with our money. And of course, then we went to the corporates. Some banks helped us, and we raised 20 crores to build the school. And it's as good
But
as
this
any.
reflects. Sorry to cut you, but this reflects that people in Pakistan still, if they come to know that if you're doing a good job, you're an honest person, their money is not going to be wasted or plundered or uh, go into a corruption. So still people in Pakistan, they're willing to open up their pockets for the
Absolutely,
deserving
absolutely,
people.
absolutely. Obviously, we have to work hard. We have a marketing department which reaches out to people. Then I try and take as many potential donors to the school, and show them actually physically, the school. And once a person visits our schools, he, Alhamdulillah, becomes a convert and becomes our supporter.
So I'll
And
suggest that, sorry to cut you, I'll suggest that you must have some annual kind of a, gathering at the place where the school is situated, and the people, the business community and the people who have the money, they could be invited over there, maybe
we do that.
once in a year.
We
Yeah.
we do that. We do that. We have fundraising dinners, in the winters, and we are also reaching out to Pakistanis abroad, because our ambition is not limited to one school. Our ambition is limited. We want to build That's the aspiration of my foundation, and there are younger people in the foundation who will carry on this mission after me. We want to build a school like this in every district of the country. And I'll tell you the results of this. We've had two batches who have gone into matriculation. And in the first batch in 2024, 49 of our boys appeared in metric, 47 got A plus and 2 got A's. Similarly, this year, 54 boys went into metric, 34 got A plus and 20 got A's. Nobody got a B as yet. And, this is, and our result is the best in Faisalabad, better than all private schools. As far as boarding schools of Punjab are concerned, we are, I think, at number 3 or number 4 in terms of number of A pluses and A's. So that is what you can achieve by bringing bright, poor children into an environment where you can groom them, where you can give them healthy food, where you can give them healthy sports, where you can expose them to computers, where you can, try and instill spoken English, Urdu. We are a bilingual school. We try and teach them both English and Urdu. And, so this is a boarding school.
That's great. That's great. That's great, because this is also a kind of an integration when you are picking people. I mean, these children from different provinces, different districts, and they are coming from a different background. They are going to gel together, and that is also good for the country, for the nation as well. Kindly tell me that you have been a Secretary of Education 25 years back. What is your opinion about, because we are living in a society where we have a different kind of systems. We have a madrasa system. We are producing a different kind of stuff from these madaris. Naturally, they are going through the Quran and Sunnah education. Then we have a Urdu speaking language government schools. Then we have English government schools. Then we have a private English medium schools. So when we have so many different kinds of systems, then how we are going to produce a stuff which can unify together, both from education point of view and from thoughts point of view, ideology point of view.
Well, Waheed Saab, I think that's a very valid issue, and I think it's I think we shouldn't have allowed A level, O level in the first place. 30 years, 40 years back, we should have strengthened our matriculation system. I believe India has done that, and I believe for instance, somebody I was speaking to in Singapore, they said that they have the best girls' college school in of the international standard, where they teach international baccalaureate. But the Singaporeans are not allowed to study there. They have a school for the foreigners in Singapore, which is one of the best in the world, United World College or something. And interestingly, the Singaporeans are not allowed to study there. They are only allowed to study their own board system of some. That's how important uniformity of education is. India doesn't have an A-level senior Cambridge. They rely on their own system. So unfortunately, we have taken wrong decisions, and it will require a lot of effort to rectify that, because unless you have a nation which is educated in a similar environment, learning the same kind of history and geography, having the same syllabus with regards to the country, the importance of the state, the importance of Pakistan, the role of Islam in Pakistan, you will have this class system, which unfortunately we have a very, our system, the school that I'm running, or we are running, by the way, there is an Air Marshal Arshad, former Vice Chief of the Air, he's part of our trust. General Hassan Salim Hayat is a good friend of mine. He's the former Vice Chief of the Army. He's a part of our trust. Sikandar Khan, who's from Miller Tractors, is a part of our trust. So we have very prominent people in our trust who are going to. So uh, the idea is that here are young, poor people from the rural areas. Like 25% of our children are from Balochistan, 12% from KPK, about similar 12% from Sindh, and about 50% from Punjab. So this is the same effort, is to bring them up to the English
You
speaking.
must be you must be getting you must be getting children from AGK and GB as well, because they also deserve to be there.
This year we are sending out our teams to start, but we have two children from AGK. We have children from AGK and JJB, but not too many. But we are going to now. We are sending out team this year to solicit more children from AGK and JB also. So
Now, today, I was just going through, sorry, that we have 26 million, 26 million children, they are out of schools.
out
So,
of-
it's a huge number. In fact, it's a huge number. You're doing a marvelous job, but naturally, there's a limitation,
it's,
the resources
it's a drop in
limitation,
the
the
ocean.
structure. Yeah, of course. But again, of course, I'll appreciate your efforts and your, commitment and your vision and your courage, in fact. But how are governments, because this is now a subject, left to the provinces under the 18th Amendment, and this time when they were, in fact, working on the 27th Amendment, there was some kind of a discussion that bringing back this education to the center. How we can bring those two, 26 million children out of school into the schools?
See, there is no shortcut. The point is that, I think the education coming to the center is not going to solve anything. The issue is that the politician in the country or the rulers of the country have to take the priority. Unfortunately, any headlines that you see, are about politics, are about, survival of this group or that group. Then on the development side, you see reports of construction of roads, construction of bridges. Uh, you hear very little about education. In education, you only get news about some scandal in some school or some, neglect about some child or something. The point is that unless our media, our politicians, they start giving due importance to education, this thing about, out of school children, because why are people children out of school? Sometimes there are no facilities. Sometimes when there are facilities, they are pathetic. Children run away from those schools. The parents of those children are not really pushed because they don't really understand the value of education. They feel that even if I send my child for 10 years to a school, he'll still not be able to get a job. And so therefore it's useless. And so therefore he's not pushed. He's not really, when a politician goes to
So
a
I think
village.
that some of these concerns are valid, in fact, and that needs to be addressed properly.
Yeah. So unless the priority is given to education by the rulers, and they understand the importance of education, and then the teacher is the main weapon in the education system. Do you know that in China, one of the best paid profession is that of a teacher, and so it's probably in many other countries. And teacher is a very well respected profession in these successful countries. In our society, unfortunately, teaching is supposed to be the best boys go into, the civil service, the engineers and doctors and army and air force. And who wants to be a teacher? Unfortunately, that's the unfair part. So it has to start from priority given by the leaders, by society leaders, by media, and you have to give importance to the teachers. And then the politicians need to stop using the official teachers as their polling agents and as their sort of uh, their retinue of servants in their constituency. They have to be respected and they have to be monitored and held accountable for quality of teaching in their school. Unfortunately, it is the least priority with our governments, with our politicians, and that's why we are where we are. 26 million children out of school, one of the highest in the world. Unfortunately, we don't like to be
Why
associated with
why we don't why
Somalia
we
and
don't
Yemen.
why we don't tell the parents as well as I mean, this is to be told by the leadership, maybe at the local level or the provincial level or the national level, that education is one of the best investments in the human development. It's
Absolutely.
a best investment.
If they were to just realize that we are 250 million, out of which probably 180 million people are young, if they're saying 60-65% of our population is up to the age of 30-35, this is your main export product.
Yeah,
The world, the developed world is short of manpower. All you need to do is to educate your manpower for 12 years, 14 years, give them a skill. There are shortages of any number of skills. No, there are even carpenters and electricians and accountants and waiters. I mean, you don't have to be a nuclear scientist to get a job abroad.
exactly.
And but only if the leaders were to realize that your main asset is your population. And if you have a big population, let it not be a liability. It can be converted into an asset, provided you educate your manpower. I mean, you turn them from being animals to human beings. So that's how that's the value of this asset we have, which we are wasting, by not providing them education. Then they are not employed, and we get extremism, and we get, all this extremism would be diminished if everybody had a job.
Exactly. And then the fragmentation, that the society is fragmented, divided, and then it is being used or misused by the political parties or the vested interest or the groups for their own purpose. These young people are misled because they don't have their own thinking and their own idea, vision or ideology,
You know,
or they don't see. Yeah,
currently, currently this technology has equated the world. Even in the village, you give the guy a Chromebook, and he has access to knowledge, both the teachers and the student, as good as any in the world. It's not, you just have to have an internet. And then even to get a job, you have a job market through your internet available to you. The skills that are required internationally, you can assess what are the skills required internationally. So you can even have a lot of employment, provided you have the right kind of training, you can have the right kind of skill, sitting at home. And then these children can go abroad. If somebody were to match what is required in the Middle East, what manpower, and sort of to groom them, rather than grooming them in obsolete sort of traits, groom them in something and then give them a confidence and groom them in their personality also, so that when they go abroad they feel confident. And rather than people running away in boats and getting sunk in the Mediterranean, these boys and girls can go respectfully and be an asset for the country. Very few of this is happening. It's happening, but very little.
okay,
And
finally, that's great. That's you're absolutely right. Kindly because you have been associated with the bureaucracy in our country. Still, you know, uh, whether it's a federal secretary or at the provincial level, or when we talk of bureaucrats at the district levels, do you think that the bureaucracy should have also played a vital role, instead of just managing the people and the financing? They should have been innovative, and they should have transformed their thoughts.
Yeah, you're right, but the point is that the bureaucracy, unfortunately, is like the engine of a car. The steering wheel is with the politician, and the bureaucrat, unfortunately, when they are young, they are idealists, and then their personalities and their priorities change according to whatever is the requirement of the bosses, because they are not jihadis. They come to do a job. They come to progress. They are all from middle class, and they want to become important, and succeed in life. So certainly bureaucrats should have done better, but I think to expect them to be revolutionaries and do things, I mean, for instance, I'm doing this after my retirement. While in government, I was just trying to do my best and get to the top, and uh, do as good a job as was assigned to me. Education was my passion, but I wasn't involved in education. So unfortunately, I think it has to start from the top. Uh, you know, um, I don't see any other method. I don't expect some education secretary, and there are very innovative education secretaries of provinces, but they are there for a short time. If somebody is doing a good job, uh, and he steps on somebody's toes, he's removed after a year or 2 years, regardless of how good a job he's doing. And so that is a debate which, it's an unending debate. But it has to be the priority of the rulers, who are the politicians and the military, when they come into power. They are the ones who have to set the tone. And the bureaucracy has to be used to implement it effectively.
So
But
do you
to
think
expect,
that it is the bureaucracy which is responsible wherever we are, from education point of view, from economy point of view? Recently, the IMF has issued a report where they were talking about, the mega corruption and the bad governance which is going on in the public sector. So who is responsible? As you were
I
referring,
mean,
only the
ob- ob-
politicians or
obviously,
the bureaucracy, or
obviously you can't really completely hold the bureaucracy without their responsibility. Not responsible. They have to be held responsible also. But imagine in an organized organization. I mean, in any organization which is based on some systems, uh, you can only do as good as a system allows you to do. Supposing I am in charge somewhere, and I want to concentrate 50% of my time on education. Let's say you think if the job doesn't allow me, there are 80 other things to do. I will only be allowed the time that the bosses allow me. But the unfortunately, the bureaucrats have also lost the will to debate and to put up their point of view forcefully, and they've also become very compliant. That unfortunately is true. And I think because the bosses sometimes make examples of people who don't comply very easily. And so therefore others fall in line. People who don't want to comply, they go into the side jobs. They look for studies in universities and all that. So uh, the quality of people in the bureaucracy, in my view, is good because they are selected from the on merit, most of them. But once they join the service, in about 10 years' time, they lose their idealism. and they conform to whatever is expected of them, and they try and succeed vis-a-vis their peers, trying to get better than their peers, and they see what the peers are successful at, what is making their colleagues succeed, and they try and do the same thing. So if you had a system where an outspoken bureaucrat who was sticking to the rules, or who was trying to promote something, if he succeeds, the others will do the same. If he suffers, the others will comply, and so therefore, unfortunately, people who are at the top, uh, they have certain qualities which are not necessarily very good for the system, but they're good for
Okay.
the rulers.
Uh, that's great. That's Tasneem Noorani Sab. I'm very grateful for your time. Naturally, you're a very busy person, and you had other commitment as well. But you spared your time. Thank you very much for joining this evening. Thank you very much.